following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
From Mannheim, Germany, it's the final edition of World Championship Boxing for calendar year 2008. Tonight, a doubleheader featuring heavyweight Wladimir Klitschko, recognized by almost all ring observers as the kingpin of the division, taking on Hasim Rahman, a former champion. And then we take you back to Las Vegas for a replay of last Saturday night's stunning welterweight mega bout between boxing's biggest attraction, Oscar de la Hoya, and pound-for-pound king, Manny Pacquiao. A relatively quiet crowd inside this SAP arena in Mannheim, holding their energy for the darling of German television and German boxing crowds, Wladimir Klitschko. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We're here once again to watch as Wladimir Klitschko tries to take another step toward control of public opinion about the heavyweight division. Once again, he'll be doing it before the watchful eye of the last man to truly galvanize the heavyweight division and to be universally seen as the champion, Lennox Lewis. And Lennox joins us now. He just learned within the past week that he's to be enshrined this upcoming year in the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York, along with our colleague Larry Merchant. Congratulations on that, Lennox. Hasim Rahman gets a chance tonight against Wladimir Klitschko to a certain degree. Rock is still living on what he did against you 7 years ago in South Africa with a right-hand shot in the dark that made him heavyweight champion for 7 months. How much chance that he could reproduce that kind of magic against Wladimir tonight?
Well, I think it's a fat chance, but you have to look at Hasim Rahman. He's a tough guy. He's not the type of opponent to come here to lay down. He's going to give you a little bit of problems. He's got a good jab. He's not an easy guy to knock out. But whether he can come through with a great, big, spectacular shot like the one he hit me with is going to be slim. And, you know, the fact that he took a little time to prepare for this fight, he just had a quick training camp, whether he's in good shape or not, this is going to be the question. So I like to see if he's in good shape. If he's in good shape, he's going to give him some problems.
There have been questions about Rahman's preparation for this fight. He was brought in as an opponent when Alexander Povetkin, originally scheduled to fight Wladimir Klitschko, wound up with a broken foot. As for Wladimir, he continues, Max Kellerman, this drive for legitimacy within the heavyweight division. Where does this matchup with Rahman figure into that?
Well, there's only one matchup. There's only one opponent against whom Wladimir Klitschko can establish his absolute legitimacy as the heavyweight champion of the world. That opponent would be Vitaly Klitschko, his big brother, and for obvious reasons, that fight doesn't seem likely to happen. Really what we're left with here, which I think is a kind of an interesting story for boxing, is a two-headed heavyweight champion. So comparisons between the two brothers will inevitably come down to how each fares against his own opponent. And while Wladimir is generally perceived as #1 in the division, it's big brother Vitaly who engages in the dramatic fights, the exciting fights with the dramatic endings. Which brings us to Hasim Rahman, the kind of opponent who has himself engaged in exciting fights with dramatic endings, something that Wladimir Klitschko, after his last 2 fights that haven't been so exciting, could desperately use right about now.
Indeed, more about the drama of Rahman's career in just a moment. Quickly, let's take a graphic look at the title picture in the heavyweight division. Max has already described to you the law firm syndrome of Klitschko and Klitschko, clearly the top 2. Nikolai Valuev of Russia still has a title belt, which has as much to do with the tangled politics of boxing as with his accomplishments. Sadly, he'll be defending it next week against 46-year-old Evander Holyfield. Max and I have both referred to Alexander Povetkin, who still ranks as a mandatory challenger to Wladimir Klitschko. If Wladimir wins tonight, supposedly he must fight Povetkin sometime before September 13. American heavyweight Chris Arreola has a style and a personality that screams knockout. It's just impossible to imagine a decision in any of his fights. So far, he's been the guy who's gotten the knockouts in every one of them. And David Haye of Great Britain has moved up from cruiserweight, where he was the champion. He talks a great game, looks terrific, and hopes to fight one of the Klitschkos, preferably Wladimir, later on this year. And now back to the subject of former heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman. It has been an up and down, tumultuous ride ever since the glory moment in 2001. Let's take a look at where Rock has been headed to tonight. Hasim Rahman's roller coaster ride began in 1998, when as an undefeated prospect he took on David Tua. Rahman started fast and enjoyed great boxing success until the final moments of round 9.
That punch
at the end of the round
landed immediately after the bell, and Rahman is seriously hurt, wobbling back to his corner.
Unable to regain his senses in the minute between rounds, Rahman was easy prey for Tua in the 10th. Rahman rebounded from the controversial loss with 2 victories, then faced Oleg Maskayev in Atlantic City in 1999. After another strong start, Rahman's evening took a bizarre turn, to say the least.
Oh, right hand puts Rahman on the floor right next to me. Right next to me. Right next to me.
In the year 2000, Rahman returned to the same ring and a wild shootout against Corey Sanders. That win led to a title shot in 2001 against champion Lennox Lewis in South Africa. Rahman, a heavy underdog, trailed early in the fight, but in round 5, one right hand changed the course of his career.
What a story as Hasim Rahman becomes the heavyweight champion of the world in one of the biggest upsets in the history of the division.
Fewer than 7 months later, the heavyweight championship reign of Hasim Rahman ended as swiftly and suddenly as it had begun.
Boom! It's over. Lennox Lewis got revenge.
Rahman's climb back up the ladder began in 2002 against former champion Evander Holyfield. After a strong Holyfield start, the fight provided one of boxing's most bizarre sights.
There is a huge knot on Rahman's head above his left eye. That is one of the most grotesque things I've ever seen on a prize fighter.
Ultimately, the referee had no choice but to halt the contest, and Rahman found himself with another unusual loss. 4 years later, Rahman was again near the top of the heap and facing his old nemesis, Oleg Maskayev. After 11 rounds of back-and-forth action, the end result mirrored their first fight, and Rahman tumbled again.
And that's it! It's over! It is over!
After 4 straight victories, Rahman then faced James Toney in July in a rematch of their 2006 draw. A clash of heads opened a cut over Rahman's eye in the 3rd round, and the fight was stopped in the corner. This was originally recorded as a Toney TKO victory, but later changed to a no decision. The incident, yet another bizarre chapter in one of the sport's most unusual careers. Feast or famine, the story of Hasim Rahman. Max, has that in itself had something to do with his longevity in the division?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fun to watch, isn't it? He has had so many epic battles, Hasim Rahman. Part of the reason he's here tonight, yes, it speaks to the thinness of the heavyweight division, although it's not an atypically thin division. In most eras, people complain about the quality of heavyweights, but in this era, it's been dominated, the heavyweights have, by a kind of technical Eastern European style that doesn't always sit well with American fight fans. And in Hasim Rahman, you have more of a throwback to a more offensive-minded, aggressive kind of good old-fashioned American heavyweight, And Jim, I think that probably always sells.
And not only do both Klitschkos have relatively technical styles, but because of the enormous economic support they both receive from German television, it's been difficult to get Wladimir and Vitaly to come and defend in the United States when they're in the title picture. In fact, this marks the 8th trip that we've made to Germany to cover Wladimir Klitschko. Let's take a look at some of what we've seen.
In 2001, Klitschko defended his heavyweight title against an erratic American slugger named Derek Jefferson.
Big right hand from Wladimir Klitschko.
After 4 more wins and growing recognition as the best heavyweight of the era, he faced Corey Sanders, a heavy-fisted South African journeyman who was contemplating retirement. And Klitschko goes down on a huge left hand inside.
And the next big thing is about to become the last big bust.
A 2005 knockout over Eliseo Castillo paved the way to a rematch with Chris Bird in 2006. Wladimir had beaten Bird 5 years before.
Klitschko is completely dominating it. And that's the end of the fight, as Bird's face is a bloody mask.
Since then, more than half of Klitschko's fights have been on German soil. After a dominating performance over Ray Austin in March of 2007, he avenged a prior loss to Layman Brewster 4 months later.
I'm not gonna let you keep hitting with them shots. All right? Okay? That's it, baby.
And just 5 months ago, Klitschko faced one of the tallest opponents of his career, Washington, D.C. native Tony Thompson.
Back live at ringside, tail of the tape for Wladimir Klitschko against Hasim Rahman. You see the 4-year age advantage for Klitschko, a 3.5-inch height advantage, but contradictorily, Rahman has a 3-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. Klitschko in perfect shape at 245. Rahman probably a little heavier than he might like at 253.5. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Lederman.
The Wladimir Klitschko Hasim Rahman fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case it was caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
Pre-fight sequences in Europe tend to be elaborate and showier than in the United States. This crowd has been treated to what amounted to a one-man play inside the ring, and then a musical performance, and now Hasim Rahman makes the ring walk. Before leaving the United States, he fired the man he trained with at his training camp, Marshall Kaufman. 2 days ago, Buddy McGirt showed up here in Germany to act as Rahman's chief second in the corner. Lennox, that can't be good for him.
Well, I don't think it's going to be good, because what happens is, well, when the new trainer comes on, obviously he wants to do new things and give you new information, but what Rock will always do will go back to what he knows, and it's like he doesn't have a trainer, because especially the trainer now is going to give him some information. Will he motivate Rock to actually perform and come out with some punches that he wants him to do?
Typical of a lot of American heavyweights in the recent era, Max, Rahman is a guy who was plucked from other sports and came into boxing at about age 20. Amazingly, he's gone further with boxing technique than any of the others in that category, like Michael Grant and Jameel McCline and various others.
Or most other fighters in any era ever, in the sense that he did indeed become at one time the legitimate, one and only heavyweight champion of the world, and he did so with a knockout over one of the all-time greats, our colleague Lennox Lewis. He is not unused to this atmosphere, and I don't think he's intimidated by it.
So Rahman enters the ring, hoping to make another big score under unusual circumstances, and having already been written off by some media members who feel as though he's just got too much to carry around, with the difficulty of an apparently fractious training camp, the firing of a trainer a week before the fight, the arrival of a new trainer 2 or 3 days before the fight, and the problem of facing a longer, taller, more technically sound fighter in Wladimir Klitschko. Klitschko is adored in Germany, although as he learned one night in Hanover with the disastrous knockout loss to Corey Sanders, all that adoration can be turned to ridicule pretty fast.
Yeah, Klitschko suffers in certain ways, as Lennox did, as Larry Holmes did. Not in the sense that he was knocked out. I mean, that's what really turned the crowd against him on that night, the night to which you're referring, Jim. But in the sense that he's a technical fighter who takes what his opponent gives him. So unless he's matched with an opponent who's going to give him something to really fight back at, he's not always going to turn in crowd-pleasing performances.
Like Lennox Lewis, he is the tallest, biggest star of the division, outside, of course, of the 7-footer from Russia, Nikolai Valuev. Like Lennox Lewis, he's trained by Emmanuel Stewart, and Lennox, in several of his recent fights, I had the sense that there was a concern that Klitschko might lose his composure during the fight, and Stewart has been extremely important in keeping him focused and confident and able to go out and execute his style.
Well, I find about Wladimir, he's definitely a focused individual, because when he's in the ring, he does what he practices in the gym. And some bad things about him would be the fact that he takes his time a little bit more. Obviously, there's other fighters out there and other people out there that feels that he needs to seize the moment. He needs to impose his will in the fight, and needs to go out there and do what a lot of people want to see, and that's knock his opponent out a lot quicker than he's doing it.
So constantly is Wladimir evaluated by media as a process, a career in development, and it's amazing to note that he's closing in on 60 professional fights.
And he's 32 years old. If you look at his resume of heavyweights in the last 10 years or so, with the exception of Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, he's as accomplished, if not more so, than any of them.
And it's not out of the question, if he continues to fight as he says he will, that his career could someday reach 75, 80 fights, making him, in a sense, the ultimate throwback to previous heavyweight eras.
In a sense, that's correct.
And now challenger and champion with 2 national anthems. First, the national anthem of the United States of America. Now, the national anthem of Ukraine. gentlemen, welcome, meine Damen und Herren, willkommen in der SAP Arena Mannheim. Tonight, K2 Promotions is proud to present the main event of the evening. Das ist die Boxweltmeisterschaft im Schwergewicht, 12 Runden, 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. Sanctioned by the IBF, IBO, and WBO, and governed by the DVD. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout will be from Italy, Walter Cavalieri, from the United States, Robert Hoyle, and from Germany, Manfred Küchler. And inside the ring, from the United States, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Tony Weeks. Und jetzt aus Mannheim, Deutschland, meine Damen und Herren, Dami Gospodai, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, the blaue Ecke, wearing black, standing with his trainer, former world champion Buddy McGirt, and officially weighing 115 kilograms. His professional record, 53 fights, 45 victories, including 36 knockouts, with 6 defeats and 2 draws. From Baltimore, Maryland, USA, the challenger, der Herausforderer, ehemaliger Boxweltmeister im Schwergewicht, former 2-time heavyweight world champion, Hasim Rahman. Fighting out of the red corner, Del Rota Ecke, wearing red with gold, standing with his Hall of Fame trainer, Emmanuel Stewart. Official weight, 111 kilograms. Professional record, 54 fights, 51 victories, including 45 knockouts with 3 defeats. Aus Kiev, Ukraine, zweimaliger Weltmeister, 2-time world champion, the reigning, defending IBF, IBO, WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Steel Hammer, Wladimir Klitschko.
Okay, Klitschko, Rahman, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, right here is good, anything below is low. Right here is good, anything below is low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Rahman has said, I want it, he's got it. Let's see if the former heavyweight champ really does want what the current kingpin's got.
As the bell rings, Wladimir Klitschko looks even more buffed and muscular than has previously been the case. Hasim Rahman at 253, and despite a questionable training camp, looks pretty good. I would have to say, Lennox, that Wladimir has improved his pre-fight glower. He stared at Rahman with what looked like bad intentions throughout that entire ceremony.
It was a definite look of disdain. And, you know, the way how this fight started so far, it turned out good because Rock is bent down low. He's got good position, good balance right now. He's looking to get underneath, looking for some opening, but he throws a good jab. And the good thing that he's doing is blocking the jab. He's not getting hit by any immediate jab so far.
Wladimir goes to the left hook and lands that, backing Rahman up.
Rahman acknowledged that Klitschko throws maybe the best left hook in the division. He has a very good jab as well, and he's beginning to land it now. Klitschko has threatened records for CompuBox numbers on jabs in many recent fights, most particularly against Layman Brewster, when he landed the jab with such ease that had the fight gone a long distance, he might have threatened all records for all weight classes.
Rahman is leaving himself very wide open right now for that left hook. Every time he throws that jab, he puts that right hand somewhere by his waist, and you know, later in the rounds may give him some difficulty. I mean, look right there, he's throwing the jab, but he's keeping his right hand down.
Why are heavyweights so reluctant to throw left hooks, Lennox?
I don't know.
You had a great one and didn't use it all that much.
I think it's a great punch, but you know, something has to come before it. Obviously a jab and a right hand, and you always clean up with a left hook.
And there, Wladimir led with the left hook.
The old axiom is you don't want to hook with a hooker, because if he has a better one than you and it lands first, the fight can end. And I think Rahman knows Vladimir's got a better left hook than him, but you do want to jab with a jabber, because a jab is unlikely to end a fight. But you can disrupt your opponent's even superior jab with your own, and I think, Jim, that's what Rahman's trying to do here.
Yeah, but Klitschko just landed a right hand.
Yeah, and Rahman made the same mistake that he made with me when I threw my right hand. He put out both of his hands at the same time and didn't have no hand back to block a right hand.
No, stop. Come on, watch the back of the head. Here we go.
Wladimir Klitschko said that he was very careful to watch only tapes of the good Rahman, watching the best Rahman performances. But he did acknowledge that he watched the second Rahman-Moskaev fight, in which Oleg Moskaev was able to land his left hook with amazing regularity.
I got you.
And of course, everyone in the division has memorized the left hook right cross combination with which he flattened Rahman in fall of 2001, Lennox.
Let me tell you, that was right before Christmas, and I had a great Christmas after that.
Keep doing just what you're doing. Your jab is working good. You keep throwing the hook. Ain't that much, but after a while, he's going to start watching for that. And that's when you get this fight. Just keep working that left hook.
Listen.
Кидайся, левый снизу постой. И правый не кидайся. Пару раз кинулся с правой.
Left jab, he cannot get away from it. Just keep working.
Pull out. Okay, because he's going to catch you pulling out. Close the gap and keep shooting those body shots. Okay? Relax, baby.
Nice relax, you got it.
Nice relax, baby. Okay, but keep the heat on him. Okay, don't stand
and here we see Wladimir throwing a straight right hand right through the guard of Rahman, and you don't want to take too much of this if you were Rahman.
Big round for Wladimir Klitschko in the first. By CompuBox numbers, 23 out of 50, including 17 connected jabs. Rahman only 4 of 39. So The Rock was not able to get his offense going, as Wladimir Klitschko, as has so customarily been the case, dominated the round with his jab.
Stop.
Rock needs to go in and hit Wladimir to the belly and work his way in.
Stop.
When he's in, he's got to hit to the belly and then come to the head.
Rahman knows that the way he'll beat Klitschko if he has a shot is to turn it into a contest of wills. The question is, will that Klitschko jab sap Rock of his will as this fight wears on before Rahman has a chance to impose his own?
All of Klitschko's opponents tend to complain that he holds, and it certainly is no secret that he doesn't care to fight on the inside much if he can avoid it, and he's perfectly willing to put his arms over your shoulders to make that point.
Rahman is getting set up for the right hand and needs to move his position. Cannot stand in one position and let Wladimir Klitschko set him up for that right hand, because he's like a sitting target if that's the case.
Stop. Come on, watch that back of the head.
Referee Tony Weeks handled Lahoya and Pacquiao last week and made the trip over to be here for this big fight as well.
Stop.
Now, I know in the corner of Wladimir, Emmanuel Stewart's going to tell him that to throw that uppercut, because he's been ducking right every time Wladimir throws a jab. Rahman ducks, so that would be a good setup for a jab, uppercut, left hook.
Yep, uppercut is a punch that Wladimir has been reluctant to throw sometimes, though he landed a couple good ones against Tony Thompson in his last outing. At age 32, he seems still to be improving technically and can already be described probably as the best technical fighter in the division.
If you look at this jab, even when Wladimir Klitschko has been criticized for less than scintillating performances, that jab lands like a power punch. It's blindingly fast, he does not telegraph it, difficult to time, and it lands with a real thud.
There again, Rahman standing in one position, not throwing any punches, and you know, this is the position where you need to be first. You need to be first, off your guard, jab, 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 but he's not doing that. He's waiting for Wladimir to jab and set him up. And he's looking to work off of that, but whether he has enough speed and power to do that is the question.
In the early part of the round, Rahman, who tastes a right hand there, got to Vladimir's chest about 5 times, but wasn't really able to do anything while in there. And now, as they fight at distance again, all the advantages belong to Klitschko.
Rahman cannot afford to be hit by that right hand too many times.
December 16, it's the premiere of HBO's latest Sports of the 20th Century documentary, Breaking the Huddle, the integration of college football. The next night, Costas Now looks back at 2008, one of the most memorable years in sports history. Relive the best moments of the year with Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, and others live from New York.
And listen, keep your hands a little tight. You got your hands.
Every time he comes, he stretches way out here off balance. You just create a little space and then ping, ping, right back.
And here we see 2 examples of Klitschko setting up the right hand, and let me tell you, Rahman cannot afford to be hit by too many of these in this fight. I mean, they're really showing their effects a little bit, and you don't want to get hit by this, so he needs to keep up that left hand.
You want to pop?
Heavy Bucks numbers through 2 rounds. Wladimir Klitschko has landed 34 jabs. Hasim Rahman has landed just 12 total punches. Nothing of any real significance so far. So 2 technically pure rounds for Klitschko. And as Lennox Lewis keeps pointing out, the danger is there that a big right hand could end it. Klitschko fending Rahman off with the left, keeping him at bay.
Let him up, let him up, let him up.
And this time it's Rock who reaches out and clinches Wladimir as they come together.
Rock is being flustered by that jab. That jab is bothering him right now. So he's saying he doesn't want to get hit by that jab. He's keeping his hands up and allowing Wladimir to throw his right hand and see if he can work off of it.
Wladimir just did an interesting thing. Normally he throws all right hands straight down the pipe like that one. But moments ago he swept a right hand behind Rahman's guard, much like the right hand with which you knocked Rahman out in November 2001.
Rahman's laying against the ropes. He's just being an easy target. You can't do that because if you get hit by a right hand, there's nowhere to go. His corner is yelling out to him, get off the ropes, and I think that's a good idea.
I think he feels Rahman does. He just doesn't have any chance in the middle of the ring. And maybe he can lure Wladimir into a position where he can hit him with something with his back on the ropes.
Good. Let me tell you, Wladimir is really pacing him with that jab, and there's a lot behind that jab, and it's a snapping jab, and it's really giving him some problems.
You get a headache after a while, right?
Well, if I was Rock, I would block that jab. There's no need to get hit by it because all it's doing is damage, and you know a right hand's coming soon.
Well, if it's a strategy at all, it's a desperate one early in the fight from Hasim Rahman.
You see, if I was Wladimir now, I would be throwing a lot of different array of combinations. I would be punching to the body to mix up the punches, because right now everybody in this arena knows a right hand's coming. So show something different. Throw a left hook, throw an uppercut, and get Rahman's eyes going somewhere else instead of looking for that right hand. And although he's looking for the right hand, I don't believe he can stop it.
Is Klitschko being too cautious or appropriately cautious?
He's being appropriately cautious right now. I mean, like I said, he needs to mix up the punches, throw some body punches, you know, get Rahman to keep his hands down, throw some different type of punches that are in your arsenal, or and give him something else to think about.
Rahman pointed out that at 6 feet 7 inches tall, Wladimir doesn't really like to throw body punches because he has to lower his hands and expose himself to possibly being hit.
Here's that left hook by Wladimir, which is very effective.
And it was another one-sided round.
Very smart. You didn't burn up too much energy. Now he's tired. Now he cannot fight too good at the center of the ring now. You see how when you hit him with the left hook, before he was missing, his legs is tired now, okay?
Start doing it. You're not doing it.
Oh, with a
okay?
three-piece.
You waiting for one shot. Don't wait for one shot with this guy.
I'll do that, man.
Okay, don't let him get too relaxed. You let him get too relaxed in the zone.
You gotta press him now.
Okay?
Three-piece.
Stay behind the double jab, Rock, and keep the heat on him. You got to keep the heat on him, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, stand on the outside is not going to work.
You know we ain't gonna win no decision here.
Okay?
Three-piece. You
don't
gotta
look
take
for
it
the
to
knockout. Don't look for it. Just let your hands go.
Okay?
It's a cocoa butter. Okay.
As he tried to listen to Buddy McGirt's instructions, Hasim Rahman looked very tired, even after only 3 rounds. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, 3-0. 30-27, Wladimir Klitschko. Jim, I don't know why I scored that third round 10-9, because really, it easily could have been a 10-8 round. Wladimir won it so big. I mean, you just can't do the rope-a-dope against Wladimir Klitschko. He'll kill you. Wladimir landing, piling up points with that left jab, coming across with the real good right hands, just doing a number on Rahman so far. 3-0, Klitschko based on clean punching.
What we're watching here is the best heavyweight in the world. We're watching so far, Wladimir Klitschko against one of the 20 best heavyweights in the world. In Rahman, he's still probably one of the 20 best, maybe on a good night, one of the 10 best. And we're seeing a wide distance between Wladimir and that non-upper echelon kind of contender at this point.
And, you know, I believe that Rahman's still fighting the fight wrong. He needs to put a little more pressure on him. He needs to try and get in there and hit him with some shots, which is not easy because he's trying to duck under the jab. But when he ducks under the jab, a right hand is coming or a left hook. Doesn't really have anything to worry about with the uppercut right now because Vladimir's not throwing it. But
well, you heard the discussion in Rahman's corner as Buddy McGirt accurately observed, Rock, you seem to be looking for one big shot. And the way to land one big shot is not to look for one big shot, but rather to try to land several.
Not only is he looking for a big shot, he's trying to allow Wladimir to tire himself so he'll be able to throw one great punch in there. And this is what he feels that may happen in the fight. But right now he's getting tagged with a lot of shots, which is taking a lot of energy out of him. So whether he's going to have a lot of strength left to be able to throw that big shot is the question.
Layman Brewster, before his upset win over Wladimir Klitschko, said he was going to have to try to beat him like Rocky Balboa would, by taking everything he had early and staying in his chest as the fight wore on, which is what happened, and Brewster won by knockout. Maybe Rahman has the same idea here. Weather the storm early.
Well, as the fight goes on, you know, Rahman's getting a bit more tired. He's still getting hit by those jabs, and whether he can still get away from the right hands, we're going to have to see, because Wladimir is becoming very sharp with the right hand and with the jab. And you know when he hits you with a lot of jabs, the right hand's going to come.
Sometimes you weather the storm, sometimes the storm weathers you. I'd say more often than not.
Since the loss to Layman Brewster in April of 2004, Klitschko has won 9 straight fights, looking for a 10th win in a row here, looking to get to 52-3 in a career which, for his critics,
has been defined entirely by the losses and not by the 51 successes. Such are the pitfalls of being the king of the hill.
Okay?
Baltimore in the house.
You
Come
gotta
on.
light that fuse, though. You gotta start keeping the heat on him. Stop standing on the outside. Don't let the guy gain any confidence. You gotta make this a dogfight, right?
Absolutely. You took everything you got.
Okay? You gotta make it a dogfight.
Move your head and
Listen,
get in his
hands here. Okay? You got your hands too far apart. Hands here, and let's come in behind the double jab. Just let your hands go. You got it?
The left hooks that you were missing before landing now because his legs are not, before he could see good enough. Now he can't see them so good. So that's why you're hitting him with the hooks. Before he was in the way, but now you're hitting him with the hooks now. You can step it up a little bit this round. Just get him on out of here.
Tommy Bach's numbers on jabs so far in the fight. Klitschko 89 of 172. In other words, he's landing more than half his jabs, 52%. Rahman 11 out of 106. Lennox, I think Buddy McGirt is giving Hasim Rahman good advice in the corner between rounds, but of 53 previous Rahman fights, Buddy trained him for only one. So it's really a shot in the dark as to whether he's going to hear Buddy's good instructions tonight.
It's true. Buddy should give him some defensive advice as well and tell him to keep up that right hand, because I can see a left hook right hand coming from Klitschko.
There's the left hook, there's the double left hook, and the straight right hand behind it. Good call, champ.
Jim, you mentioned a shot in the dark, and Lennox, you mentioned it off the top of the broadcast, and that's really what Rahman is here for, isn't it? To see if he can land that shot in the dark, and it's the kind of odds he's facing. It's going to take a shot in the dark to do it.
And let's face it, he does have the knockout power. He does throw a good wild punch, and I don't think he has enough steam or quickness to be able to catch Wladimir right now. Anything can happen. Lightning can strike, but whether he has enough energy to do it, whether he's in great enough shape to be able to do it is the question. I say he doesn't have enough. He's not in good enough shape to be able to do it. But
he wasn't expected to, and so far the fight is playing out as most expected.
A couple of years ago, in his rematch with Klitschko, when Lehman Brewster was subjected to this kind of jab fest, eventually Buddy McGirt and the others with Brewster decided it was not worth the continued damage, and he kicked it in.
You see when Rock tried to attack Wladimir, Wladimir moved back 2 steps, and Rock missed his punches because he's not quick enough on his feet right now to be able to catch him.
Before Buddy stopped that fight, the rematch, Jim, he told Brewster, and really asked him more than told him, I'm going to stop the fight, okay. He gave Brewster a chance to show that he had some at least desperation left in him, and Brewster didn't. He had the fight beaten out of him. And at a certain point, the question is, will Rahman also have the fight beaten out of him?
Buddy had virtually the same conversation with Paulie Malignaggi 3 weeks ago against Ricky Hatton. And Klitschko is getting closer and closer to doing real damage, or so it would appear, to Hasim Rahman.
Well, I'd just like to add, I knocked Rahman out in 4 rounds. And this is the 5th round, and Rahman was at his best. This
observation.
This is Rahman at his worst.
Well, Vladimir's a very fast and pretty big puncher, but I don't think there's any ring critic, Lennox, who thinks that he is as heavy a puncher as you were. You had the thudding power. He has shocking power.
Yes.
Stop, I got you.
Ah, but we'll never know. We'll never know, will we, Lennox?
No, hold the hand.
I think some people can form an opinion after watching this fight.
Well, what you're saying is you formed an opinion.
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
Got a small cut, right eye by a punch.
December 23, Real Sports looks back at its most memorable stories of 2008, capped by a roundtable discussion among Bryant Gumbel and all the correspondents. And beginning December 27, HBO Sports will bring you our Boxing's Best of 2008, 5 memorable fights from the past year. Up first, Antonio Margarito's thrilling victory over Miguel Cotto in July. and Manny Pacquiao's razor-thin victory over Juan Manuel Marquez in their March 15 rematch.
I want to wipe him off.
It's a dogfight with him now, Rock. Okay?
You got him.
Hands
No
up,
decision.
head moving.
You got him.
Keep that pressure on him.
Absolutely.
All right? Don't stand on the outside. You can't stay on the outside.
He took everything he got.
Okay? Don't stay on the outside. Let's not take no more shots like that, okay?
Okay?
To give him,
One slight assistance to Rahman that's taking place here is that between rounds periods are longer than a minute. They've been averaging about a minute 10, a minute 15, which means, and it doesn't mean a lot, but it means that Rahman's getting an extra 10 or 15 seconds between rounds to recover. And recovery may no longer be an option as he goes down for the first time on a left-right combination.
5, 6, 7, 8. Come to me, come to me. You okay? All right, I'm gonna give you a chance.
He still looks a bit unstable on his feet, and that punch did hurt him, whether it was a hard punch or not, but it did kind of give him a little bit of cobwebs.
Well, to me, it looks like he's both hurt and exhausted. His legs are going away, whether from the accumulated punishment or the absence of conditioning, or both.
I've never seen Rahman have the fight beaten out of him like this. Even in his losses, he's fought on until the end, and he's been systematically taken apart, and it seems his will to fight on has indeed been broken.
He's never been in the fight even for a second.
Yeah, look, this is an opportunity for him. You know, they said to Rahman, here's a fight, here's an opportunity, here's a date. Can you make it? 3 weeks to train? You know, I would never have taken a fight on 3 weeks to train. Maybe 16 days.
Talking earlier about the difference between you and Wladimir, Lennox, it seems to me that the real difference people see in the two of you, both big, both with Emmanuel Stewart in your corner and technicians with power, is that you were tough. When you were knocked down, you tried your best to go on. You won some very tough fights over some great fighters. Do you think Wladimir is tough enough? He's not being forced to show evidence of it here, but do you think he's tough enough to one day be recognized as a great fighter?
Yeah, I mean, he's tough now. What he needs to be doing right now, I mean, he's throwing the jab, but he's throwing just 2 different punches. Jab, left hook, right hand. There's no uppercuts, there's no body punches. Now, this is what people want to see. Want to see true boxing. They're only seeing left hands and right hands and left hooks. But there's uppercuts, there's body punches, there's different combination punches which he should be throwing.
He's known as a cerebral fighter. Are you saying he's not putting the pedal to the metal when he needs to?
Well, I believe that he holds back a little bit too much, where he should really let loose a bit more. Like in this position, he should take his right foot, step over to the side, and start punching from the right side. Switch again and go on the left side of Rahman. Right now he's in front of Rahman. Rahman doesn't have to look anywhere, just look in front of him, because that's where Wladimir Klitschko is.
Stop, let him up.
In round 6, after constant sustained punishment for the 5 preceding rounds, Wladimir Klitschko finally put Hasim Rahman on the deck. Let's take a look at the combination.
And it was a combination like, you know, Rahman put his head down, he was off balance, and Wladimir hit him with a couple left hooks, which kept it going that way, and he just was off balance and he fell down. It wasn't a terrific hard shot.
You want to continue to fight?
Yeah, all to the end.
Okay, look, but if you continue to take punches like that, I'm not going to let it happen. All right?
Hey, so you know you got to let your hands go now.
Okay. Looks fine, though. I'm good. In the middle.
Okay, listen. You okay, baby?
Yeah.
Okay? All right, man, listen. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do this round, all right? The referee's not going to let you take no shots like that, bro.
We're good.
Okay, you got to make it a dogfight, baby. Okay? All right?
Get hit with them fucking punches.
Don't get the shots.
Stop letting him lean on you. Okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
Stop letting him
You let him get back and he regroups.
Hold your right hands now, you know that. He's going to let everything hang out this round.
We're good.
Yeah, I know. Get on him quick. Let's go.
Round 6 was at least a 10-8 round. Wladimir Klitschko was 28 of 68 by CompuBox count in the round, and Hasim Rahman landed 1 of 16 punches. Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, 60 to 53, 6-0. Wladimir Klitschko. Jim, I think he's on his game. I got to tell you, he's piling up points beautifully with that left jab, mixing in a left hook and throwing a right hand. You got to give him an extra point in round 6 for the knockdown. Certainly it could have got to 10-7, he won it so big. Be as it may, 6-0, Wladimir Klitschko.
Now Rahman wobbles again after another left-right combination. You heard referee Tony Weeks warning Rahman he won't be allowed to continue to take sustained punishment.
And here it is.
This is over, baby. This is done. And Wladimir Klitschko, criticize what you will. He's 52-3 with 46 knockouts. Not bad.
Long tradition in boxing, throughout boxing history, of the dominant heavyweight of the moment taking on a former champion who's no longer at his best, but has name recognition and dismantling him. And here is another example of that.
One thing for sure, if you're going to fight Wladimir Klitschko, you better be in great shape. You better be in shape that to be able to take a punch and go through the complete rounds all the way to 12. If you're looking at you're only in shape to go 5 rounds, you're not going to win the fight.
Let's take another look at the action which prompted referee Tony Weeks to step in and protect Hasim Rahman by stopping the fight.
Well, Rahman's got these punches and he's thrown a lot of different punches, but I'm talking Wladimir, and the ref didn't want to see any more punishment because there was no way that Rahman could have won this fight, and he looked very tired. He went over to talk to him in the corner, and Rahman couldn't even hardly say a word. He was definitely tired.
You told us in the first round, Lennox, that Hasim Rahman was wide open for the left hook, and that turned out to be a very prescient call. Throughout the fight, it appeared Wladimir could not miss with the left hook.
He couldn't miss with the left hook. He was very sharp. I mean, Rahman gave him an easy target, didn't move his head, and was standing in one place. And, it seemed like a lot of steam has come out of Rahman. He doesn't have it like he used to have it. And like I said, he took this fight on a couple weeks' notice. Whether he's in good shape or not, he was in shape to go through at least 3 rounds, but not the complete fight.
You made a great point when you just said moments ago, if you're going to fight Wladimir Klitschko, you had better be in sensational shape and ready to go 12 rounds at a fast pace. Does that, for the moment, disqualify American knockout sensation Chris Arreola, who seems to have a problem controlling his weight?
Well, I believe so. I mean, Arreola is a great guy, great fighter, but if you fight him in a 12-foot ring, you're going to have problems. But in a 20-foot ring where he has to move around and use some boxing and technical skills, it's going to be very difficult for him because he's not that type of fighter. So I don't see that being a good fight for him. I think he needs to get some boxing experience, some technical experience, and then he can really come in, because obviously it's a good fight to see, but it's not a good fight to watch.
Looking down the road just a little more, let's go to Max Kellerman in the ring.
So, RTL is first.
Okay, not yet, Jim.
All right, Max is probably working on getting the interview that he wants there. So here's a look at future opponents, and I'm sure what Max was likely to tell you here is that Nikolai Valuev looms there. Both Klitschko brothers, Vitaly and Wladimir, have said that they would like to fight him. David Hay is in the audience here, and we'll move while we await post-fight interviews.
David Hay, as Jim was mentioning, is a likely contender. He's athletic, he's fast, he has devastating knockout power, but he's also shown a shaky chin at times, and that was at cruiserweight. He's now really outsized by the big heavyweights. Chris Arreola, Lennox was talking about limited boxing ability. I think Arreola has some underrated boxing ability, a deep amateur background, but has not always been in the best of shape, as it's been pointed out. Nikolai Valuev, at 7 feet, 320 pounds, presents some problems for anyone he's in the ring with. He has some good fundamental boxing skills, and while he's not a puncher for his size, given his great size, he does hit with some thudding power. The difference between Valuev in size and Vladimir or Vitaly Klitschko, even as a percentage of their body mass, is far greater than, for instance, the difference in size between Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao, a fight you're going to see in a few minutes from now on HBO from last week's pay-per-view. So, Jim, there are some interesting matchups out there for Wladimir Klitschko. Unfortunately, the most interesting would be against his brother Vitaly.
And both brothers say that could never conceivably take place. Interestingly, moments ago, you were having a conversation with Britain's David Hay, who watched the fight and is now standing 5 feet away from us. What did Hay have to say about what he saw?
Well, basically he said, if you can't move out of the way of left hands or right hands, move that head, you don't have a hope in hell. And this was the situation with Rahman. He was getting hit by jabs from the get-go, and then he was getting hit by right hands, and that's a recipe for defeat, because that's going to tell you how the rest of the fight's going to go, especially when you get tired in the later rounds. You're really susceptible for these type of punches, especially his left hook.
We're waiting to throw to Michael Buffer in the ring for the official particulars on the decision. As is always the case for our telecasts here in Germany, the controlling television network is a German television network, RTL. They're really the ones who call the dance in terms of what happens in the ring and when it happens, and we follow their lead rather than to exercise the kind of control that we often have in the United States. So if you get the sense that we are filling and using our on-camera mechanics to kill time here, sometimes that's correct. Now let's go to Michael Buffer.
Heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Steel Hammer, Wladimir Klitschko.
Final CompuBox numbers in this one-sided wipeout. Wladimir Klitschko landing 178 out of 369. That's a terrific statistic. Anytime a heavy puncher lands 48% of his thrown punches, he's probably been a big winner in the fight. Hasim Rahman simply never in it, landing only 30 out of 207 punches. The Klitschko jab has become his stock in trade, and once again he was overwhelmingly dominant in this category, landing 119 more jabs than Rahman over the 6+ rounds that they spent in the ring, throwing about 100 more, exactly 100 more than did The Rock, and The Rock's 10% connect percentage with the jab means that he simply wasn't in the jabbing contest. Power shots and Klitschko's accuracy, 37%, not bad. Hasim Rahman able to get in a few body punches here and there, but never really landed anything significant upstairs, where Wladimir Klitschko has been vulnerable in the past. Still to come tonight, our videotape look back at what happened last Saturday night in the most anticipated fight of the year, the fight between boxing's most identifiable fighter, Oscar De La Hoya, and the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, Filipino star Manny Pacquiao. And quickly, we look ahead to what's upcoming for the remainder of the year on HBO Sports. December 16, it's the premiere of HBO Sports' latest documentary film, Breaking the Huddle, the integration of college football. December 17, catch the live premiere of the next Costas Now for a look back at the biggest sports moments of 2008. Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Jimmy Rollins, Michael Strahan, many others on hand to look back at the best moments of the year. December 23, it's the premiere of Real Sports Year-End Special, featuring a review and discussion of the most memorable stories the program has covered in this past year. And for 4 consecutive nights, beginning December 27, tune into Boxing's Best of 2008 and relive some of the biggest moments from this year's jam-packed HBO boxing calendar. We kick off the new year in the ring January 17 on Boxing After Dark, with rising welterweight Andre Berto facing off against Luis Collazo. 1 week later, World Championship Boxing returns as Antonio Margarito defends his welterweight title against Shane Mosley. And every Monday, check out HBO.com, where you can find the latest episode of our original digital series, Ring Life, currently featuring 3-part profile of Chris Arreola. Ring Life, watch it, download it, carry it, share it. For all that and more, log on to HBO.com. And now we are told that Max Kellerman is standing by in the ring with the winner, Wladimir Klitschko. Max?
Congratulations, Wladimir. You barely got touched. You landed almost everything you threw. Rate your performance.
That's what I have to do in the ring. And Hasim Rahman really got punished, and I have to give him respect. He was keep coming, and I mean, every round. And to be honest with you, I was expecting the corner giving up earlier.
You looked, in your upper body at least, physically bigger and stronger than you have in the past. Have you done anything different in preparation for this fight?
Actually, nothing different. I think that I'm really entering, as Lennox Lewis and many other heavyweights in the history said, that when you over 30, the heavyweight is getting better. That's actually what I feel at my age and at my stage.
Okay, your brother came back, beat Sam Peter convincingly. You two are now the top 2 heavyweights in the world. We understand you said many times, obviously, there won't be a Klitschko versus Klitschko fight. That leaves various contenders, including the man you were supposed to face tonight, Alexander Povetkin. Do you have any thoughts on an upcoming Povetkin fight?
I think that Hasim Rahman is more experienced than Povetkin. Povetkin's a young fighter, and of course, I was expecting Povetkin. That was a wish of Emmanuel and myself to fight Alexander Povetkin tonight. But unfortunately, he couldn't make it because he got injured. And anytime soon, we're gonna see Povetkin Klitschko in 09.
David Haye has also been calling you out. Chris Arreola is on his way up. You have some interesting contenders in front of you. What is your preference?
I haven't heard David Haye tonight because he's been loud. And where is he? So anyway, I think that exciting time in the heavyweight is coming. We got Alexander Povetkin, we got David Haye, we got Chris Arreola, we got somebody else probably. So now it's going to be very excited.
Wladimir, before I let you go, you and Vitaly talked as you grew up about one day monopolizing everything in the heavyweight division. You two are, in fact, together the heavyweight champion of the world. How do you feel about that right now? Do you wish that you could be heavyweight champ all by yourself one day?
You know, to be honest with you, I do share with my brother jointly the heavyweight division. And I think it's even more exciting to do it together with my brother than to do it alone.
Thank you, champ.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Jim.
Maybe. But there are still millions out there who yearn for a single identifiable heavyweight champion. And if Wladimir Klitschko is your guy, it was a successful year. Knockout victories over Tony Thompson and Hasim Rahman to get the record to 52, I should say, and 3 with 46 knockouts. We're going to take you back now to last Saturday night. For months, there were some in the boxing community who derided the idea of a fight between Oscar De La Hoya, who has spent most of the last 10 years fighting at welterweight and junior middleweight, and even went as high as 160 to fight Bernard Hopkins as a middleweight, against Manny Pacquiao, who began his career under 110 pounds, and already this year fought at 130 and then at 135 pounds before taking the bait to move up 12 pounds in weight and fight De La Hoya as a welterweight. Well, there were some surprises in the weight area. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape between De La Hoya and Pacquiao to see how that whole story turned out. You see the 6-year age advantage that Pacquiao would take into the ring against the people's champion of the sport. De La Hoya had what many thought would be the functional height advantage that could be the critical factor in the fight, 4 inches at 5'10.5" to 5'6.5". A 1-inch arm length advantage for De La Hoya measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. And here's where the curious factor comes in. De La Hoya, fighting as a welterweight and going down to his lowest weight in 12 years, weighed in 2 pounds under the welterweight limit at 145. Pacquiao, not terribly surprisingly, coming up from fighting at 135 on June 28, weighed in at 142. But unofficially, on the night of the fight, our HBO scale found that De La Hoya had gone up only 2 pounds in weight overnight and would enter the ring at 147. And Manny Pacquiao, after all those months of hearing that he was too small to fight Oscar De La Hoya, entered the ring outweighing De La Hoya by 1.5 pounds. Let's go back to last Saturday night and see how I called the fight with Emmanuel Stewart and Larry Merchant.
Okay, Oscar, Manny, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, look, if it goes right here, it's okay. Anything below that's low. Right here is okay, anything below that's low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourself at all times. Let's go.
They call this a dream fight, a good dream, a bad dream, an exciting dream. Let's find out.
The Filipino crowd chanting for Pacquiao as he moved toward the center of the ring even before the opening bell. Which styles will emerge in the early rounds? Is De La Hoya here to box or to fight? Is Pacquiao here to try to create an immediate storm or to tactically bide his time and hope to pressure De La Hoya in the late rounds? Good straight left hand up the middle for Manny Pacquiao. The height differential did not show up so graphically at the weigh-in yesterday, where De La Hoya was barefoot and Pacquiao had tennis shoes on. Today, they do look 4 inches apart in height.
You can see the height difference here. Oscar seems to be very intent and very angry. I was just see the expression and looking in his eyes. I've known him. But he's fighting a very intelligent fight.
He takes a straight left hand and a right hook from Pacquiao and seems intent on retaliating. But already Pacquiao shows you that he wants to move in, move out quickly. Move in, land a flurry, move back out of De La Hoya's range. And the quickness of Pacquiao is a factor in round 1.
Those 2 punches have reddened Oscar's face already.
They seem to have been the only clear punches that have landed thus far. And it's interesting that Manny is using his footwork. He's using his bit, moving around better than Oscar.
And Oscar is not firing his jab, perhaps because of the early bobbing head movement of Manny Pacquiao. De La Hoya knows he wants to keep his jab going throughout the fight. He hasn't really gotten it going so far.
This has the makings of being a very interesting fight, and I think as it goes on, sooner or later you're going to get some very good exchanges. But right now, Manny is fighting a very smart fight.
Well, if there are 2 graphic impressions from round 1, they're simple. De La Hoya is so much taller, Pacquiao so much faster. And now De La Hoya nails Pacquiao momentarily against the ropes and catches him with a left hook to the body.
Oscar needs to do just what he's doing now and use it more, the left jab.
But he can't find Pacquiao at the moment. Pacquiao's movement confusing him at the moment.
But it would get him busy watching the jab. But right now, Manny is hitting him with his punches off.
That momentarily shocked Oscar.
I think the speed has been bothersome for Oscar throughout the round, who simply can't believe how easily Pacquiao snakes his left hand right through the middle of De La Hoya's guard. De La Hoya lands a left hook. But Pacquiao gets away.
He punched, but nothing landed too much for the most part.
Deep breath.
Good. Give me that. Give me that.
Okay.
Right in the middle, Manny.
Very good. Keep boxing. It's very important. You've got to keep your back off the ropes. When you feel the ropes coming off, you go under and out, okay? Just like in the gym.
When you're looking for him, he can't do anything. All he can do is a straight hand or a hook, and you saw what he did. He trips, he doesn't know what to do. Lively, lively, lively. Assert yourself, assert your jab.
Right here, you see what surprised me and has been probably the most effective punch. The little left-hand lead of Manny's is he shooting right between the gloves of Oscar and dipping and getting away after he lands the punch.
Pacquiao's learning curve has accelerated through the middle portion of his career. There was a moment when he was, even though dangerous and destructive, largely a one-note tune. Jab, jab, straight left hand. His ability to fashion the lead left hand, starting his offense with it, as he's doing there, shows how much he's progressed as a tactician.
One thing that you mean is very obvious. Oscar De La Hoya has very little head movement, where Manny Pacquiao is using his upper body movement with his hands, his feet, his gloves, where Oscar's too stationary at this stage here. Manny is a much more elusive target.
You know, Oscar used to dominate smaller guys when he was a young fighter. He was always put in with guys a weight division or 2 less than him. He isn't doing it yet.
And he hasn't really adjusted to the straight left-hand lead of Manny Pacquiao. He seems to be expecting Pacquiao to start with the right jab, and Pacquiao continues to confound him by coming straight up the middle with the left-hand lead. He has reddened De La Hoya's nose from top to bottom with that punch. You heard Freddie Roach telling Manny Pacquiao between rounds, as soon as you feel your back touch the ropes, move to the side and get away. He expects it's a different fight if they're in the center of the ring, where Pacquiao's speed dominates, as opposed to along the ropes, where De La Hoya's strength could become a factor.
There is a little welt on the side of Oscar's left eye, where he has caught a couple of right hands.
Manny's upper body movement and defense is very, very effective, what you say. Oscar cannot time his head movement the way he's moving and bobbing and weaving and dancing in and out.
Indeed, De La Hoya is reduced to mostly trying to go at the body because he hasn't been able to find Pacquiao's head.
But he has no head movement at all. His head is stationary.
Good body shot. Doubled over Oscar, it seemed. And as you said, he is bending his head so that there is almost no height difference between them.
Pacquiao lands a brilliant uppercut up the middle. And if round 1 was mostly Manny Pacquiao, round 2 is even more so. De La Hoya has not been able to solve Pacquiao's speed, movement, the southpaw style.
If you look, you get into fine details, not only the head movement is not there with Oscar. He's fighting coming in most of the time leading on his heels, whereas Manny is operating on the ball of his feet.
And somehow, so far, he is neutralizing Oscar's left hand, one of the best weapons in the sport for over a decade.
The speed and variety of Manny Pacquiao on offense, the head movement defensively, the straight left hand up the middle. He has carved out an edge in the first couple of rounds against the longer, taller Oscar De La Hoya.
Don't look for him without throwing punches, because you give him a shot. You give him a chance because of his speed. Jab, 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 and throw. Throw to the body, and then up top, and then finish off at the body. But don't walk in looking for him without punches. You give him all the chances. Do you understand? Throw punches.
December 16, it's the premiere of HBO's latest Sports of the 20th Century documentary, Breaking the Huddle, the integration of college football. The next night, Costas Now looks back at 2008, one of the most memorable years in sports history. Relive those moments with Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, and others live from New York.
Keep boxing smart. In and out.
CompuBox numbers through the second round show Manny Pacquiao landing more than half of his power shots. This is a big problem for Oscar De La Hoya, who has landed only 6 of 56 attempted jabs, according to CompuBox. De La Hoya hasn't really gotten his offense going, and he hasn't solved Pacquiao's game yet.
Even though Manny is slightly winning, I think as the fight goes on, I see him becoming even better. I can't really visualize Oscar doing much better than this. He looks a little slower, doesn't look as strong, body looks a little weak. And as I said, his upper body movement is not going off.
You're telling me we're going to see a shutout, Emmanuel?
I think Manny's going to get stronger as the fight goes on, even though he's winning now. Oscar has no defense for those punches. He's just stationary.
Why did so many ringside experts think that the fight wasn't even a credible
because
idea?
the first we thought he was going to be a bigger guy, and as it turned out, he's just a taller guy. The difference is I thought he would have came in about 160 pounds, as most people. For him, they almost picked up any weight, being he's just taller, but nowhere near where we say stronger, or as big as he should be.
Boxing annoys and irritates Oscar, he says, and he is very annoyed and irritated at the moment. He is not getting off at all. He hasn't thrown a punch in 20 or 30 seconds, and that was a reach-in right hand. But sooner or later, he's going to land something. You have to believe that.
He just landed a good left hook to the body there. And Pacquiao, following Freddie Roach's instructions, moved off the ropes as soon as he felt his back against him. There is a big swelling outside the left eye of Oscar De La Hoya, the product of Manny Pacquiao's right hooks. There's a redness in the middle of De La Hoya's face, the product of Pacquiao's straight left hand. Now De La Hoya seems to relax just a little and begins to find the target with his jab. You might describe the first couple of rounds as shock and awe. Pacquiao's speed taking De La Hoya to the cleaners. Now Oscar seems just a little more comfortable, though Pacquiao is still more offensive, more the aggressor in the fight, moving in and out effectively.
But Oscar's, I think, to me, more aggressive. But the punch with the snap and the speed is coming from Pacquiao. I don't see the punch, the snap in Oscar's punches as much as Manny is. There's a lot of difference in the steam.
And that's because he's uncertain where Manny's going to be.
Good point. Good point. You can tell that.
Is it also because it's a physically more challenging process to move down in weight, particularly when you're 35 years old, than to move up in weight when you're 29?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And right now, you know, Oscar, I know he's into this kangaroo meat or whatever he's doing and things, but to me, he just doesn't look that strong when he does.
Wild punches. Oscar is not landing his big shots.
Beautiful. Nice head movement, son.
Beautiful work. Have a seat.
Give me one deep breath. In through your nose, down through your mouth. Come on, you're right.
That's it.
Nasukat na. Okay, laro tayo, laruin mo ha.
Okay.
Labas na, pasok.
Now,
Deep breath, man.
he's very slow right now, okay? Now, the feints are gonna draw his lead out. Use your feints a little bit more.
Manny Pacquiao is the first southpaw Oscar De La Hoya has fought since September of 1997 when he fought Hector Camacho Sr. Pacquiao has dominated De La Hoya in the first 2 rounds with his straight left-hand lead up the middle. Early in his career, Pacquiao always set this punch up with jab. De La Hoya seems shocked and not ready for the left-hand lead of Manny Pacquiao. Harold, how do you score through 3?
That gives him 3-0, 30-27, Manny Pacquiao. Jim, what he's doing is he's turning the guy. Look, right jab, left hand, and then he moves to the side. He's got Oscar turning. If Oscar can't get set, he can't get his punches off. And Manny's turning him. Oscar looks like a guy going out, doing a 360. 3-0. Manny Pacquiao based on not only clean punching, ring generalship when he turns the guy.
And when Harold was speaking, Oscar landed a good straight right hand, but then Pacquiao came back seconds later with a flurry of left hands.
The biggest and most effective punch in the entire fight has been the straight left of Manny Pacquiao between the gloves of Oscar.
Let's see if De La Hoya can develop some confidence in his jab over the course of these next few rounds so that he can bring coherency to his own offense.
Oscar needs to work his jab. Whether it lands or not, it'll at least get Manny preoccupied. Manny can land the big right hand, but he's not jabbing enough. And
well,
he needs to feint. He needs to feint it sometimes and then jab in order to make Manny move and then jab him after he moves.
The right hand has never been a super destructive punch for De La Hoya. I asked Freddie Roach yesterday in our meeting, I said, have you ever seen Oscar De La Hoya really hurt somebody with the right hand? And he smiled knowingly and said, nope. And that's a factor in the fight. The straight right hand is often the #1 weapon of choice for a conventional fighter against a southpaw. For the same reason that Pacquiao is landing his straight left hand. The avenue of approach is open. It's still Pacquiao's quickness dominating the slower De La Hoya.
And if Oscar's not going to move his head, at least he keep his right hand to the center of his face, and he keeps it up right into the side, leaving a perfect hole for Manny to go right through, and that's what he's doing. And that's what Oscar needs to do, is keep working that jab. Manny could not time him so much, and even if he doesn't land his eyes, keep pumping him. But he doesn't jab enough.
Good body shots there by Pacquiao. And if there was doubt coming in as to whether Pacquiao could affect De La Hoya with his punching power, there shouldn't be any doubt anymore.
And you watch when Manny lands his left, he then moves off often to his own right. so he stays out of the line of fire. He hits it and moves away as soon as he lands it.
This is getting embarrassing.
It's an event when De La Hoya dodges a left hand. Virtually all of them seem to be landing for Pacquiao.
Oscar looks old and he cannot control the situation. The worst thing in the world is to come back and complain, I can't handle the speed. And that's exactly what David Diaz said, but David Diaz wasn't the fighter of Oscar, but he could not handle the speed.
Oscar said he needed this fight to convince himself whether he could keep fighting. He's got 8 more rounds to find out whether he is still a prize fighter.
Many experts wondered why Pacquiao took the fight. Looking at the first 4 rounds, you have to wonder why De La Hoya took the fight.
Oscar, when you close up, you don't throw punches. Your best defense is to throw punches. You've got his whole body is open up and you're not throwing anything. Throw the right hand to the body. Come on, throw 45. Left, right, 45. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. He's just faster, that's all. He's beating you to the punch, but throw, because if you don't do anything, there's 4 rounds that you lost.
I'm gonna go and he can't read you.
Hindi niya mabasa yung galaw mo.
Don't just walk in behind the feint and the head movement and the a little bit of movement. He can't handle your speed, son.
Okay. Brad, pag ginamitan mo ng bilis ng kamay, bilis ng paa, biglang...
You keep boxing just like that.
Numerical anatomy of a wipeout. Power punches in round 4 according to CompuBox. Pacquiao, 32 out of 47. 68% connect percentage. Oscar De La Hoya, 8 out of 20. And now you begin to wonder, somewhere in the fight, does De La Hoya have the proverbial puncher's chance?
Well, or does he have to just rush Manny, knock him off his game, hug him, beat him up, and the body try something new?
If Oscar would just work his jab, keep his right hand in the front of his face, and when Manny comes in, take a half a step back and then punch, he would be effective, but I don't think he's going to do that.
De La Hoya looked a lot better in May of 2007 against Floyd Mayweather, who was far and away the preeminent fighter in the world at that time, and since then has retired unbeaten. Low blow by Pacquiao after he strafed De La Hoya with the right hand upstairs.
What is the feeling of a fighter when he's in there with somebody who's always beating him to the punch?
This is a terrible feeling. The worst thing it is, as I say, to not handle speed. And he doesn't block those right hands at all. He has his right hand permanently stuck to the side of his face, and Manny just punches us like a wide open invitation.
Anything,
He has no defense.
He's getting hit with virtually every shot that Pacquiao throws.
And Manny is going to get better as the fight goes, as I said earlier.
Well, and Manny is still going in and out. He's not getting careless and carried away with the fact that he's doing this.
No, it's a brilliant fight plan for Pacquiao. Far more of an intelligent and tactical fight plan than I personally had expected. And perhaps more so than De La Hoya expected as well. And Oscar just can't get off. Pacquiao's speed is a riddle he has not been able to solve.
I think you summed it all up in that phrase, Jim.
Well, Oscar used to be the speed that killed.
You know, when a lot of the experts...
Good body shot by Oscar.
Biggest punch of the fight for De La Hoya, and he suddenly gets it going with 3 left hooks.
And a lot of experts picked Oscar to win because of being big. They figured right now he would be about 13 pounds bigger than he is.
And they also figured he'd be about 4 rounds ahead.
Yes.
Oscar has a hill, if not a mountain, to climb to get back into this fight.
Well, if judges are looking for a round to give to De La Hoya, this might be the one, although now Pacquiao rallies down the stretch.
And after each round, Oscar gives a nod of approval to Pacquiao.
You look much better, much better. Come on, Oscar. Oscar, combinations, left, right, and you're 45. Left, right, hook. Left, right, and hook to the body. That's where you have him. He closes up.
Wag na wag mong gawin, pumunta sa lubid. Wag ha, wag na wag.
Good boy. Off the ropes. You don't belong on the ropes.
Alis sa lubid.
Don't get lazy and play. All right. Stay focused in the middle of the ring.
Slow it down.
All right. Deep breath. You stay. The fight's in the middle of the ring. Okay.
Taas na pinsa. Wag ka sa lubid.
Size difference in boxing is significant. Manny Pacquiao is showing it's not insurmountable.
CompuBox
so
numbers
far.
in the 5th round. Manny Pacquiao, known as Pac-Man, threw 86 punches. De La Hoya threw 65. Pacquiao had a 27-8 edge in power connects. So it probably would have been a reach for any judge to give the round to De La Hoya. But you heard how enthusiastically Nacho Beristain, his trainer, told him, mucho mejor, much better, when he came back to the corner. A lull of quiet now gripping the crowd as if they are waiting to see what might happen next. De La Hoya fans have found little to get excited about in the first 5 rounds.
De La Hoya has decided now to be a counterpuncher. He's going to try to make Manny lead him and look for an opening.
And prevent Pacquiao from countering him as effectively as he has so far.
Even a lot of those punches that Manny has landed, which is on the cup, if you notice, he's never been worn because Oscar has his cup extremely high. So they're really on the belt line. They're not on really low punches.
They trade body shots. Pacquiao giving at least as good as he gets. When Nacho Beristain asks between rounds for 45s, he's not asking that De La Hoya look 45 years old, but rather that he throws his combination left hook, left uppercut, a punch that's thrown at an upward angle trajectory. That's why they call it a 45. He hasn't been able to land it much tonight. Straight left hand right up the pipe for Pacquiao.
And Pacquiao throws that left hand in 2 different ways. He throws a short, quick one, almost like a jab, and then he throws the power punch right down the middle.
That's still been the most devastating single punch in the entire fight. Neither fighter been able to establish any other dominant punch at all, but he just throws that little left cross straight out anytime he wants it. It's almost guaranteed it's going to land about 90% of the time.
And as a graphic visual mark of what's happening in the fight, Manny Pacquiao looks largely untouched as we come toward the end of the 6th, and he is gradually reconfiguring De La Hoya's beautiful face.
Yeah, the left eye looks like it's going to have a problem as the rounds go on.
Well, a lot of critics pointed out that De La Hoya looked scuffed up after fighting Steve Forbes in May. And fighting Manny Pacquiao is something entirely different from fighting Steve Forbes.
Wow.
Press him, hit up top and then to the body. Finish off at the body. Because that way he's going to hit you less than just standing there. Come on, throw punches. Press him, press him. Press him because he's tired. The few punches that you got in with it, he's tired.
You keep the fight in the middle of the ring. You keep boxing and turning them, okay? All right?
Here we see once again Manny Pacquiao shooting a straight left hand right down the pipe. Directing, that's the kind of punch that's doing the damage to Oscar De La Hoya's left eye.
Let's go, Freddie. Well, we're halfway through the fight, and some observers are still amazed at what they're seeing, although each round has gone by with repetitious regularity. Harold, how do you have it so far?
That gives you 6 rounds to nothing, 60-50 for Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya hasn't gotten off the schneid. He's getting shut out. And Freddie Roach used the key word at the end of round number 5 when he said, just keep turning him, because that's what he's doing. Just like I said before, beautiful right jab, nice straight left hand by Pacquiao, and then he turns him. He moves to the side, and De La Hoya can't get set to hit him. 6-0, Pacquiao.
We're starting to get to that point in the fight already where you're thinking Oscar has to at least knock him down, if not knock him out, to change this fight.
And Oscar hasn't shown that knockout power in a long time. I disregard to some degree the Mayorga fight because I was not that respectful level of Mayorga, but he hasn't knocked out many of the top elite fighters in a long time.
Yeah, Ricardo Mayorga's no elite fighter in my view. No. He's the most willing target in the sport.
Yes.
Yeah, but still, you would think against the so-called smaller man, we'd see something more.
Well, but I think Jim summed it up. There's too much of everything. He just cannot figure out how to get into the fight, how to hold him off, how to get to him. It's too much of everything tonight.
Oscar is maybe trying to lay a trap, but Manny is too smart and too fast for him.
This fight's going to probably end up being stopped.
Manny Pacquiao is annihilating Oscar De La Hoya. Yes. And in the 7th round, De La Hoya has 0 answers for the Pacquiao assault.
No, he cannot do anything.
Pacquiao is making De La Hoya look old, slow, ineffectual, as though he is a sparring partner.
Some of us wonder
this fight's over with.
Whether Manny Pacquiao would become the Henry Armstrong of this era. Right now, he's looking like the immortal Armstrong.
And Oscar is barely throwing back. You wonder if Tony Weeks is thinking of stopping the fight.
Yes. Who's looking
hard shots.
Oscar.
De La Hoya hasn't been down, but that may be the only thing that's keeping Weeks from stopping it. Oscar's left eye is almost closed.
He hasn't thrown a meaningful punch in nearly this whole round.
Pacquiao is closing in on landing 50 power shots in the round. It's the most power punches ever landed on De La Hoya in a single round of his career. And virtually all of his fights have been counted by CompuBox. An embarrassing 7th round comes to a close. Embarrassing for De La Hoya. Exciting for Pacquiao.
Está bien. You okay? If you don't throw punches, we're gonna finish the fight. We can't be receiving punches like that, one after the other. Do you understand me?
Okay, you're gonna fight back now.
You don't throw any punches. I'm gonna stop. Okay, now here, listen to me. He's gonna come out fast because he's gonna try one more time. Don't go after him right away. Box him for the first minute and then take him out in the second. Okay? He's got a minute rest right now. He's going to try to hurt you right away. Okay. You go out and you feint him right away and you box him. You keep boxing him.
Right here you see Pacquiao landing punch after punch, and it's not so much just the way he's landing them. The body language and position of De La Hoya's body is that of a man that's defeated. It's passive. He looks like he's humbled himself. He doesn't know what to do.
He's cringing. Yes, he is cringing in the face of Pacquiao's unstoppable onslaught. CompuBox numbers in the 7th round. De La Hoya 7 of 24, and he threw 10 of those punches in the last 30 seconds of the round. Pacquiao 47 of 103, including 45 of 76 power shots. David Diaz was closer to being in the fight against Pacquiao than Oscar De La Hoya is at this moment.
Harold and I both scored the last round a 10-8 round for Pacquiao.
Well, and you heard the commission doctor indicating in De La Hoya's corner that he will not be allowed to continue that kind of sustained taking punishment without the fight being stopped.
The old warrior still trying to hang in there against a man in his prime who is the most exciting little fighter in the world.
Little?
Big,
he looks
little
big
fighter.
tonight. Pacquiao is fighting tonight in the welterweight division. The champion of this division is the almost supernaturally big welterweight, Antonio Margarito. All right, Larry, you envisioned this one. Could you see Pacquiao against Margarito?
No, and he himself says he's going back to 140 after this fight. This could be the end of the fight here.
Yeah, Oscar has no defense at all. I mean, his body language is that he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do at all.
Well, all good things come to an end. Watching this, you wonder if you'll ever see Oscar De La Hoya near the top of the sport again. It could be that the long and glorious run of the Golden Boy is seeing the curtain drawn here tonight.
Death by 1,000 left hands.
And if in fact the Golden Boy is being dethroned, it's happening at the hands of the fighter who may have the best chance of picking up his identity as the economic bell cow of the sport. Because Pacquiao's following is growing, not just in the Pacific Rim, but in the United States and Latin America as well. Has a tough decision in front of him. There's a lot of glory and a lot of money in Oscar De La Hoya's past, but he's getting beaten up here.
This could be the end of the fight.
Hey, you have a headache?
He doesn't feel anything.
Okay? Let's take him out, okay? Okay. All right? Hey, it's your job, okay? Finish this man.
You have a headache? Are you busy? Huh? You have a headache?
Okay, listen. No. Listen. If you keep taking punches, I'm stopping the fight. Okay?
We're going to stop it. Better we stop it. It's our decision, Oscar. It's a decision that we have to take. There's no reason to continue with this. He's too fast. Are you okay? Are you with that? You agree? Yes. One more round, or is that it? Is that it?
Right now, you're here. The corner is wanting to stop the fight.
Is that it? Yeah? That's it? Let's finish it. That's it. Let's go.
It's over. Manny Pacquiao has beaten Oscar De La Hoya.
And it was the right thing to do.
This is the last thing of all the choices we expected to see in this fight, which was a one-sided fight for Manny Pacquiao.
The victorious Manny Pacquiao knelt to pray in the same corner where George Foreman got down on his knees 13 years ago after knocking out Michael Moorer. As I searched the inventory of my boxing memory for an accomplishment as big as what Pacquiao did tonight, maybe Foreman's win over Moorer is the valid comparison. Something so illogical, so unusual, that you simply couldn't have imagined it would happen. And here's Michael Buffer with the particulars on the knockout victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, we turn a page in boxing history as this fight comes to an end. The official time at the end of round 8, referee Tony Weeks calls a halt to the bout. The winner by TKO victory, and still the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. the fighting pride of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao.
The scores were as lopsided as you might expect. 80-71, 80-71. Stanley Christodoulou of South Africa found a round to give to De La Hoya, 79-72. Even more one-sided, the CompuBox numbers. Pacquiao almost tripling De La Hoya's number of connected punches, throwing 183 more punches, landing at a very high connect percentage of 38%. The power punch category will produce an even more one-sided result. De La Hoya only 51 out of 164. Pacquiao landing 144 more, throwing more than twice as many power punches and landing 59% of them. That's just insane. It's a brilliant performance by Pacquiao. Larry Merchant will begin the interviews in the ring with the loser, Oscar De La Hoya.
Thank you very much, Jim. Oscar, you said to me a moment ago you did this to yourself. What did you mean?
Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter. He deserves all the credit in the world. He fought a tremendous fight, and he was a better man, and he deserves all the accolades, and he deserves everything that he's accomplished, and I wish him all the best.
Did you find yourself feeling weak from your lower weight because you couldn't respond, or was he just too fast and too elusive at the same time?
He's just a great fighter. I have nothing bad to say about him, and I give him all the credit in the world. And Manny Pacquiao prepared like a true champion, and he deserves everything that he's accomplished and everything he will.
You said before the fight, in effect, you're fighting to find out if you're still a fighter.
Right.
What did you find out tonight?
Well, my heart still wants to fight, that's for sure. But when your physical doesn't respond, then what can you do? So I have to be smart, and I have to make sure I think about my future plans.
It sounds like you're saying you're going to retire.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I love the sport, and when it's not your night and a true champion like Manny beats you, obviously there's another day tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now to Emmanuel. I'm sorry.
Still you're my idol. Whatever happened, man.
All right. Just to repeat the exchange I just heard, Manny said to Oscar, "You're still my idol," and Oscar said to Manny, "No, now you're my idol." Could you have imagined that you would be able to dominate Oscar De La Hoya in this fight the way you did?
Well, I think I did well tonight, and I'm lucky I win. And I'm so lucky because I controlled the fight in the first round, and you know.
You're saying that you saw the pattern of the fight in the first round, and you saw that you were too fast for him?
Yeah, that's what we were working every day at the gym. Speed will be the key of this fight. So that's what I'm talking about, and I use it tonight. So thank God for giving me the strength.
Freddie, you put yourself on the line in this one, from trying to get the promotion made, getting the negotiations restarted, saying all along that Oscar couldn't pull the trigger anymore, and that your guy would stop him around the 8th or 9th round. How good do you feel? How vindicated do you feel?
Manny, I want you to thank Larry first, but he's the guy who thought up this bout. Without Larry, this fight wouldn't have happened, so you got to thank him.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, you know, I just know I get the younger, fresher guy out there. I trained Oscar, you know, and I saw him very sluggish in the Forbes fight. I thought, you know, he couldn't pull the trigger anymore, and I proved I was right.
Manny, everybody was thinking that the winner of this fight will fight Ricky Hatton next. Is that what you're looking forward to go back to 140 pounds?
Well, sir, my job is to train hard and to fight in the ring. I think it's my promoter's job to negotiate whatever who's my opponent on the next. And thank God for giving me this another victory for tonight. And it's gonna be a big honor to our country. Not for me, but to all the Filipino who love boxing and to all the people who love boxing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manny.
That was last Saturday night, a fateful and perhaps portentous night for the sport in Vegas. Now we are back in Mannheim, Germany, where earlier this evening Wladimir Klitschko destroyed Hasim Rahman, another successful heavyweight championship defense, a 7th-round TKO. Max Kellerman, prior to the Lahoya Pacquiao fight, there were large and well-represented media polls in which roughly 85% of the so-called experts in the sport picked Lahoya to win, most of them saying that he would win with relative ease. Perhaps the good news for all of us who are in that position is that we didn't suffer the same embarrassment and hurt in the ring that Lahoya had to go through. What does Pacquiao's destruction of Lahoya set up for the two fighters now?
Well, Oscar De La Hoya is over. He's not a fighter, not really, not anymore. He can still beat some B fighters on his talent alone, but the days of him engaging in fights, super fights with the elite of the sport are over. A lot of the reason he's not a fighter anymore is because Manny Pacquiao convinced him that he's not a fighter anymore. Not only should Pacquiao now be compared to the likes of Hank Armstrong, which you did throughout the fight, Jim, during the broadcast, but also to Roberto Duran and all the other uppermost echelon, all-time great pressure fighters boxing has ever seen. And in the immediate future, I think we can expect to see Pacquiao against Ricky Hatton, a fight he'd be favored to win. And then, I think potentially, Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. After all, Floyd, when last seen in action, was given a very tough time against Oscar De La Hoya. Afterwards, he fought Ricky Hatton, but De La Hoya gave Floyd all he could handle, and De La Hoya certainly didn't give Pacquiao all Pacquiao could handle.
Yeah, certainly Pacquiao versus Mayweather would be the ultimate sweepstakes, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter of this moment against his predecessor, who in retirement for now remains an unbeaten fighter. So the king is dead. Long live the king. If there's any fighter in the sport who can become the economic bulwark that Oscar De La Hoya has been for the last decade and a half, it's probably Manny Pacquiao. Tuesday night at 10 p.m., it's the premiere of HBO Sports' latest documentary, Breaking the Huddle, the integration of college football, a film about the trailblazers who integrated the playing fields into powerful football conferences of the South during the turbulent civil rights era. The following evening at 9 p.m., catch the live premiere of the next Costas Now for a look back at the biggest sports moments of 2008. Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Jimmy Rollins, Michael Strahan, and many others will be on hand to relive the best moments of the year. If you missed any part of tonight's telecast, you can catch it again on HBO Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. or on HBO 2, Sunday at 5:30 p.m. or Wednesday morning at 5 minutes past midnight. And now for our entire HBO crew, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from Mannheim, Germany. We leave you now from images from a tumultuous year in boxing with thanks to the dedicated professionals who made this possible for all of us.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.
A new year and a new era in boxing. Relive the most anticipated fights of 2008 over 4 consecutive nights. On December 27th, 2 great back-to-back brawls. First, Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito light up Las Vegas in a battle for welterweight supremacy.
An epic fight with an epic conclusion.
Then, Manny Pacquiao goes toe-to-toe with Juan Manuel Marquez in their electrifying rematch.
A great shot. What a war.
On December 28th, Bernard Hopkins executes a fight for the ages against Kelly Pavlik.
A dominating performance.
December 29th, celebrate at the mecca of boxing as superpowers Joe Calzaghe and Roy Jones collided for the light heavyweight crown. On December 30th, pound-for-pound great Manny Pacquiao stunning upset over the Golden Boy. 5 epic fights, 4 epic nights. Boxing's best of 2008 starts Saturday, December 27th at 11.
Next on HBO.